Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have our semi-final to talk through for Aryna Sabalenka versus Jessica Pegula in a rematch of last year's US Open final. Before you do get into it though, of course, remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do your rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. The head-to-head is 7-2 in favor of Aryna Sabalenka, and she has been looking pretty dominant in this tournament so far. Let's very briefly talk about the head-to-head, the route to semi-finals, tactically how it might play out, and then ultimately I will give you guys my prediction. So the head-to-head, as I said, is 7-2 in favor of Aryna, but on hard court specifically, it's 4-2 in favor of Sabalenka. So the two matches that Pegula has won have been on hard court, so she can take some solace from that, that's for sure. They played once this year in Miami. Sabalenka won 7-5, 6-2. They then played at the US Open last year, of course, in the final, and Sabalenka won 7-5, 7-5. Very clutch performance from Sabalenka. Pegula played very well and was up in at least one of those sets from memory. So we'll talk about what Pegula did well there in a second as well, and what she needs to do, because that'll feed into tactically how she needs to play, I think. Cincinnati, Sabalenka won in 2024 as well, 6-3, 7-5 in the final. WTA Finals in 2023, Pegula did beat her 6-4, 6-3. They also then played the WTA Finals the year before that in 2022, and Sabalenka won in straight sets. Then the last one they played was the other Pegula win, which was in Cincinnati in 2020, and she won in 3 sets there. Okay, so route to the semi-finals. Sabalenka has looked very good. Hasn't lost, even a single set. Matarova, Kudermetova, Fernandez, and Buxa all straight set wins. Then was meant to play Vondrousova. Vondrousova pulled out 2 hours before with a knee injury, so she will have a bit of a break. I'm not sure if that's a positive or negative, to be honest. Pegula then beat Sharif, Blinkova, Azarenka, Lee, and Krejcikova. So yeah, very impressive from Pegula, not dropping a single set as well. So Sabalenka versus Pegula, how does this one play out? So Sabalenka is playing some really potent tennis. She clearly loves it here in the US. I think not just the tournament, but also the atmosphere, New York generally. And she's been playing pretty solid. I wouldn't say she's been maxing out her level. And of course, she hasn't played, apart from Fernandez, a seed apart from Fernandez. Pegula, though, herself, also has not played a seed. But Krejcikova, I guess you could say, 2-time Grand Slam champion. So both these players have come through, but not really having a super hard route, it has to be said. Who will get the win? How does it play out tactically? Well, Sabalenka is, as we know, she's got a big serve, but the baseline power hitting is the base of her game, right? She hits hard from the back of the court and flat, rushes the opponent, takes big cuts of the ball, and is a lot more controlled now in aggression. She's added the drop shot to her game. She has a bit of net play as well she can utilize, and she's very aggressive on return, especially the second serve return. For Jessica Pegula, she also is a baseline power hitter, but she doesn't quite have the same power as Sabalenka. So she's a bit more controlled, hits a lot of depth, utilizes angles a bit more. She'll be a bit more crafty in the way that she plays. And her game historically was built on being a very good returner. But she hasn't actually returned that well this year. The stats will tell you that. And I think it's probably down to the fact that she has been getting deeper in tournaments and coming up against these power servers, you might call them, and struggling to really get a hold in the service games and make a lot of balls. Her serve has been decent. Just looking through her serve stats, not a whole lot of aces, but pretty good on the first serve points, 1 percentage, or hovering around the 70% mark. Sabalenka, yeah, it's going to make it very tough though for Jess, I have to be honest. Jess, if I was her, I would be going out and playing really brave, going line first in the exchanges, trying to put Aryna on the back foot as much as possible, because to be honest, Aryna on the front foot is just not something you want to be seeing on a hard court. If she can push her back, and that might mean hitting with a lot of variety, say the lobs on the forehand or backhand wing, trying to push Sabalenka back. We saw Coco utilized that at Roland Garros in the final into the backhand wing, hitting backhand lobs into, or forehand lobs almost into the backhand corner of Aryna. It's not necessarily as effective on hard court, but it's not a bad ploy to, especially if you feel like you're getting hammered from the baseline, to then change things up. I also think angles are going to be crucial. Sabalenka is now a very good mover, but she's, in my opinion, still not an elite mover like a Swiatek or a Goff. So if Pegula can utilize short angles and try and get Sabalenka to really move, not just a lot, but awkwardly side to side, up and down, get her moving, get her feeling like she's not being able to feel comfortable and in rhythm in their rallies, and that can also be a positive, because Pegula is not necessarily going to slice and dice it with variation. Her ball is quite samey a lot of the time, and it's a good quality ball, but it is the same a lot of the time. So she needs to then utilize, if she's not going to be able to hit with a lot of variety, she might hit a lob here or two, fine. But apart from that, she's going to have to use shorter angles. She's going to have to be a bit smarter, I think, with also her patterns of play. Make sure she's not being predictable. Going in behind Sabalenka, for example, at times is not a bad ploy. And she's going to have to be proactive in the rallies, as I said, and that means playing on the front foot as much as possible. And she might have to take a bit more risk in some of the exchanges, but if she takes a bit more risk, it should pay dividends if she executes it correctly. And that's the only way, for me anyway, for her to get the win is to implement that. Playing passively will not get her the win against Sabalenka, because she doesn't have the same elite movement as a Coco and the same variety as Coco to pull off, say, you know, the type of win that Coco might be able to get against Aryna. She has to play to her strengths, Pegula. I think the problem is that her skill set is a little bit, not convenient, but a little bit comfortable for Sabalenka to deal with, I have to be honest. I'm going to go with Sabalenka in straight sets. She has not been playing her best tennis, that has to be said. So Pegula red lines and plays big, really takes the racket out of Sabalenka's hands. You know, Sabalenka feels like she's being rushed all the time, then she can struggle, because she does take big cuts of the ball. On the backhand wing, not as much, on the forehand especially. So Pegula can go big cross court with the forehand and try and dominate those exchanges. Sabalenka will get frustrated, she'll go for more and she'll miss more, no doubt, because she doesn't really have the option of trying to shorten the backswing, take it early. It's not really her game. But I'm going to go Sabalenka in straight sets. The hard court factor, the fact that she's beaten Pegula as well the last couple of times. I just think that her game is suited to combat someone like Pegula. I could be wrong. And Pegula can definitely get the win if she, as I said, if she redlines, but it's unlikely that's going to happen. So Sabalenka for me in straight sets. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well. We'll see you on the next video.